Hello, everyone, and welcome to ForcedToPod, episode number 24. My name is Saxon, but you can call me Sax. Joining me tonight, I have the man who knows no stranger nor pepper too spicy. Nick, how you doing, man?
I feel betrayed. I have been betrayed by my wife. She took our oldest to tumbling for cheerleading practice, and she usually just waits. It's only an hour, so she'll wait in the parking lot and mess around on her phone. She comes home, and the first thing she tells me is that she went to Taco Bell
I know.
and had a quesadilla, and I said, "Don't touch me. I can't even. I can't believe it." First of all,
It's not that big of a deal unless she got a Baja Blast.
well, no, she doesn't like Baja Blast, but
Well, you got to leave her.
she goes, "I could have just not told you." I said, "I would have rather you just not tell me that you went to Taco Bell without me." I mean, on the other hand, Reagan and I hung out. We played 2 games of war with the playing cards and another matching spinning game that she has. Flip puzzle pieces over, you spin to see how many you can get and see who can put their puzzles together first. So we played a couple games before she went to bed, so that was fun.
You didn't even have to get that out before I knew what had happened. Like, as soon as you told me it was a betrayal thing, I knew immediately Taco Bell.
Right.
So that's awesome. Well, I'm hoping, we should be out of here before Taco Bell closes. I don't know if Taco Bell closes around you.
I can't. It's too late.
I know. I don't know if I'd rather know or not, but I would have known either way because I handle all the money stuff and Heather. But Heather also would just walk in, sipping whatever drink she got. And last but certainly not least, we have the man who'd rather be outside than wherever he is currently. I am the Mountain Man Walker. How you doing, man?
Good. I was outside this weekend. Thank God. I made it into the bushes, lurking in the bushes, looking for turkey. Didn't see until I packed up and started driving out, and then all of a sudden you see the turkey. It's the law of the universe. It's walking across the road. Look at me. I'm just being a turkey.
So you gotta have your shotgun just hanging out the window while you're driving.
Yeah. That would be what's called a crime, Nick.
I thought there were no rules in Texas. I'm sorry.
There's at least one rule, and one of those is don't turkeys
no drive-by shootings on turkeys.
Honestly, I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't. I
knew that.
I could have maybe guessed. It would have been like 50-50 for me on whether or not.
It's for sure a crime. Yeah.
Is it a crime because it's dangerous towards you?
It's stupid.
There's a lot of stupid stuff out there, Nick. That's not a crime.
That's fair.
I think it's mostly because it's dangerous. I mean, if you're doing it on your own land, it's dangerous. I'm sure it's mostly made a crime because they don't want people just like popping turkeys on public roadways or any animal for that matter. Don't fire guns from moving vehicles is like a broadly good policy.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I guess we may have talked about this before, but I have always had an intrigue on the weird rules that get outlined, and it's like, okay, well, what happened to start that up, like to bring that to the forefront? So you get like the list of all the crazy rules that for whatever reason exist and do that. Walker's frozen right now, but we're going to see if he's coming back to us here in a second. Hey, he's back. Let's go. So let's do some housekeeping real quick. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment wherever you listen. When you do that, it really helps, and helped a lot this week. So this last episode was received very well, and you guys were excited that we were back. So if you would like to, you can join the conversation at bit.ly/ForcedToPod Discord. All one word. One more time, that's bit.ly/ForcedToPod Discord. Can hop in there. Just like I told my dad to do it this weekend because he was helping. This past weekend, I went up back to my hometown to basically we're trying to get my grandpa's house sold. So he passed away in August. We're coming down, it's getting nice out. We got to get this house on the market. And so about a month and a half ago, went up there. We got a bunch of people, bunch of family members together. We got everything from downstairs, every closet, everything to the front area. Did our first pass of disposal, or on that day, the weather was terrible. So it was like disposal or get in the garage. But now that stuff's just been sitting in the garage. So it's like, well, that doesn't help us. So I looked at the calendar and I was like, okay. So I had 2 weekends ago was relatively free. This past weekend was free. Next weekend, we're going to an orchestra concert over in Western Kentucky on Saturday, so we weren't going to be able to do that. And it's Easter weekend, so a lot of people weren't able to do that. The next weekend after that, we're going to an orthodontic conference. I'm going with Heather to Philadelphia. So we're doing that in a couple weeks. And then we just get into May at that point. And we got to get the house on the market before then. So I was like, hey, guys, I basically just blew up the family group chat. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to drive all the way up there. I need you guys just to come around the corner. And then we're going to spend time. And boys, you ever have those days where just this is starting like it's going to be a bad thing, but it's actually like one of the best things ever, where it's like you go into it and I'm like, all right, we're going to be going through a lot of old stuff. It's going to be kind of a like nostalgia thing. Hopefully people don't get too sentimental with everything, because we're to the point where everyone's made their passes on like what they want to take. Literally anyone could take home anything they wanted to, but we've kind of hit that point. And so we talked a lot about it. And I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go. How many trips to like Goodwill or the Mission are we going to have to do to like donate stuff? Well, I pull into the neighborhood early in the morning, like 9 o'clock, and I see like 4 garage sales in the vicinity. There was one in the direct neighborhood, but like 4 of them. So I get there. My cousin Crystal was coming over in a little bit. My mom, my Aunt Tracy were coming over. And when my cousin got there, she lives right around the corner and she's got a bunch of kids. I said, hey, can you turn around, go back to your house, get as much construction paper and put free stuff basically, and just put the address. So she did that. She made some signs up. We put stuff out.
I like you just assumed she had construction paper laying around because she has kids.
And she did.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we do
like
too.
Me to show your construction.
Yeah, we have plenty, but it's just, it's
bright yellow, had all the markers, had everything we needed. We had to make some impromptu stakes for it, but we got it. We got them in the ground. We got it wherever. That actually went really went down really smooth. But we ended up getting rid of, through disposal, donation, or a mixture of the two, 90% of this stuff for free. People just came, picked it up. I took the role of salesman for free stuff. In a weird way, like I would just meet everyone at the at the bottom of the driveway. Mm-hmm. And once I saw and thought about it, and the weather was so nice, I was like, hey, we're just gonna start setting stuff out here, because we needed to organize and go through it anyways. I'm like, we need to pull it out of the garage, get it out. So we did that. And what I would do is when people would pull up, I'd just say, hey, good morning. And I'd basically give them the rundown. And then I would tell them, I'd say, it's my grandfather's house. We're trying to do this. So anything that you feel somewhat inclined to take, please do. Because if not, we're going to have to, box it up, take it to donate and stuff. And people were, man, well, I'll tell you what, like it was one of the most wholesome days. Like it was awesome. Like people were just helping. The first people who got there, they saw that we hadn't quite gotten things organized and got out, because it was so impromptu. We did not expect this. The weather didn't look like it was going to be good like this. I just didn't expect it. And there were people who were helping us carry stuff out, set up some tables, things like this. So it was a really, really good day. We got all that stuff cleared out. I did have to get down the crawl space. We did take out 2 fridges, and one of the neighbors got absolutely soaked by the water line that was going to the fridge. I was not in the room when that happened, but thankfully he lived right next door, so he was able to go get a change of clothes. I did tell him, I said, Jim, I'm happy it was you, not me, because I would have had to drive 3 hours in these soaking wet clothes, and I would not have been happy about that.
Literally put a damper on your day.
For sure. So we, and then I happened to, this last thing I'll say about it, I happen to have the perfect, I don't even know what it's called. It's like a hex head for the top of a bolt, whatever, to remove, maybe, sure. I just said I don't know the name of it, so you could tell me anything right now and I'd agree with you. But essentially, I had the right bit to go in my drill to pull off the doors for this old fridge, because the only way we were getting out of it was this old kind of nasty fridge, just needed to go. But we had to take the doors off. It's the only way we could get out of the house. And I happened to have the exact right bit. Did not have to go anywhere. My grandpa had like no tools, so he wasn't going to have any there. No one else had them. Was able to. I just right before I left, grabbed my toolbox, threw it in the trunk, and got lucky with it. So
was it were you trashing that fridge? Because alternatively, you could have just used a hammer.
That's true. That's true.
Well,
I actually,
you could have taken turns trying to rip the doors off of the refrigerator. That would have been fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you could technically get a door off a fridge, I guess, in varying
Like the
degrees of
turkey and
destructiveness. This just
shoot it
happened to
from a
be
moving
the
vehicle.
most efficient way, and it
No,
just
you
worked
did
out.
it correctly. Oh, yeah.
This actually, so I said that was going to be the last thing. I got one more thing. This was actually the sign of how much this day was our day for our family. And like, I was exhausted when I left. Like, we worked our asses off. As we had just got out the fridge from the garage, so obviously we didn't have to take anything off the door for that because we got it out. We got to the road. I kid you not. Old truck with a bunch of metal in the back and two junkers in the front. Like two guys that were just searching for metal. That's all they were doing all day. Came by, their eyes lit up with massive hearts, like cartoon.
The freaking money signs.
Yes,
Yeah,
for real.
yeah.
My mom screams, and we have another one. Like, because we were about to get the other one. They said, we'll be back. They left, and then we got those things out there. And I don't know. I don't even know if they came back to get them, but it was just the vibe of the day was right. Like, it just happened to work out. So I was pretty excited.
Hell yeah.
Those guys made $35 on all that junk and spent $20 in gas.
I guess they
And
did, but
had a
hopefully,
great time doing
yeah,
it.
it
Oh,
seemed
yeah.
like they were having a good time.
And they smoked the rest of the $15 in Marlboro Reds.
Absolutely. So Walker, you we pushed the recording back because you said you weren't feeling good last week. You said you got outside this weekend. You're all recovered from that?
Yeah, no, I just got smoked by something. I don't know. Well, Chloe got me sick. She got me sick. So, I don't know. She's
Quite
never,
bad.
her immune system sucks.
Sounds
It's
like so
really
does
bad. I don't know. It's, yeah, good thing she's not going to be spending any time in the hospital anytime soon. But,
well,
yeah, maybe
it's
it'll,
better
maybe
to get it
it'll-
out of the way now.
No,
Yeah.
help her, help park her up there. But she always gets sick, and she got me this time. So I just, standard head cold kind of crap. But the day we were gonna record, I was just all in my throat, and I had been talking all day, and this was not gonna
Yeah.
happen that night. So
For an
I
audio
totally
platform,
recovered,
we
and-
appreciate that. So
yeah,
You could have just chatted us. We could have read the text.
yeah, no, just send messages.
You should have set up a Stephen Hawking voice.
yeah.
Man, did y'all have the oh no, I still remember our like anti-smoking campaign and
With
they had the guy, they always have the person with the stoma and the, I don't know, translator device, the
What was
vibratory
it?
translator device.
What was
I
the
thought
guy
it
on
was
South Park?
Such a big thing.
I think it was Ned on South Park. Uncle Jimbo's buddy. You guys watch South Park?
Very
Yeah.
very little. That was something that
That's all. Yeah,
yeah.
throwback, I guess.
I kid you not, this is going back to my story about this weekend. One of my grandpa's other neighbors
one you were done
literally
talking
has
about?
that. Like, literally has the, like,
Yeah.
he talks through a little thing. I had never seen someone in person. He was super nice. I think his name was Russ, maybe? Whatever. He came over, he was talking. He knew a lot. My grandpa has a motorhome out in the front. So we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with it because it's not in any
Call them
shape.
junkers up.
So thinking about it, man. Thinking about it. We gotta
Cash for
figure out some
cars or
things. But
whatever. Cars
Actually,
for kids.
Is it like it's a full motorhome?
full motorhome.
You drive it? Does it?
Yeah.
Does it?
Not currently. So
Okay.
we know for sure it needs a new battery, and I was told an exhaust
that's-
manifold, which I don't know.
Well, okay.
What
So
that means.
exhaust manifold is not necessary.
It's not strictly necessary though.
It'll go. It'll
No,
just go loudly.
Donate it to the Cars for Kids or whatever. Wow, hey,
What
so-
kid is
so-
getting-
No, it's they sell them for whatever, and then they don't use the money to help children
I
or
gotcha.
something.
Oh.
I honestly don't know.
That's
Well,
that's a better cause than I was gonna say. I have a buddy who's camping out for the Indy 500, and
yeah.
he's been talking about buying a junker like RV and just parking it and leaving it in the parking lot when he leaves.
I know our local NPR station accepts car donations.
The when I look up exhaust manifold for a motorhome, the first thing I get is a $499 part.
You have to be
Um,
more specific. There's a lot of
Yeah,
motorhomes.
well, I mean, like,
and
what-
some
what
of them
motorhome-
are
I don't know
really
what
big.
it
You
is.
know, yeah,
Just-
just
I'm
do some
throwing it in there.
welding on it.
$79.95 for the next one. I can tell
Okay,
you
but
this
it's
right
just
now:
like
our family
the
is not
top of the
putting this in.
line, fancy schmancy, whatever. Yeah.
I don't
Listen,
know
you can
how
go.
fancy do
Listen,
manifolds get.
go to AutoZone and buy some JB Weld, the stuff that's rated for high heat. You mix it
The
up on a little
JB
piece of
Weld.
cardboard and you just slap it on there, and it'll harden and cure into sort of metal,
Yeah.
and then you'll be good to go.
Yeah, the engineer in me is you'll definitely improve your exhaust note on that one with the JB Weld. True fact.
The
High temp. It's got to be high temp. It's
I
gonna get
think the
hot.
worst
Yeah,
sign,
definitely.
right? I think
Okay.
the worst sign about the motorhome is the fact that my cousin actually works in Indianapolis, like at one of the RV places, repairing, bringing stuff in, and he didn't even want to touch it. Like when we told him all the stuff that was wrong with it,
Yeah.
the stuff is like, because at first he was like, "Hey, I'm interested, but we can think about it, whatever." He didn't even want to touch it. So I don't know. But it was kind of a surprising amount of people who asked us, like, "Hey, what's happening with the motorhome?" And we're like, "It's up for sale." Actually, it was kind of funny because my mom parked in the driveway, and we said, like, everything in the driveway is free to go, and they're like, "What about that car right there?" I said, "Actually, that's for sale, but only for the right price. It's not actually for sale, but like every
No, yeah.
price." So we'll sell it. So Nick, what'd you do this week?
You could, I mean, if it's really that much, I mean, Facebook Marketplace. Have you put it on Facebook Marketplace or?
I don't live there anymore, so I'm gonna let my aunts, my mom handle that stuff. My mom went on, she posted on Facebook, and we did have people come from that Facebook post doing that. So, but anyways, we talked enough about that garage sale stuff. Not garage sale. Nick, what did you do this weekend?
The garage free.
Yeah.
The garage giveaway.
The garage handout.
That sounds.
Yes. Send me that info later. I might, I'll see if somebody wants to come pick up that motorhome.
Or you could donate it to a charity for children in need.
Well,
hey,
we've
talked about making
your buddy qualify as a child in need.
He could.
Nick, we've talked about making some other content for our YouTube channels other than just uploading the podcast. Us trying to get up and get this motorhome up and running, that may qualify.
It could be the start of a pretty fun series.
I hope it doesn't turn into a series. We need that thing out of the driveway sooner than later.
A lot of content to be made there.
I suppose.
Yeah. I did just watch a beautiful set of YouTube videos about this guy restoring this incredible old wooden sailboat. It's basically the same thing, more or less.
What's it called where you replace every piece of the boat?
Yeah, the motorhome of Theseus.
Yeah.
God. Man, you could do like a really interesting Greek retelling of the Indianapolis motorhome. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting sold on it now, and it's a little unfortunate because that actually kind of goes down smooth. But I don't have anywhere for it, so it'd have to sit on someone's land.
Don't get the motorhome. Don't do the motorhome.
We already got the motorhome.
I guess you have the motorhome. I'm anti motorhome, but I appreciate. Some of the people I appreciate the most are the folks who, camp at the like campsite managers or whatever. The old folks who are just kind of like hanging out there and doing whatever needs doing, living in their motorhome for free, 6 months of the year at the places. They're always so cool. Love those people. Everybody else doesn't need a motorhome.
There's something to it though. Like, I don't know. We had some really, really good memories riding around in that thing. 13, 14 of us going down to Florida, whatever. So it had this little compartment. So right above the driver's seat, there's a flat like bunk area, and then right at the foot of the bunk area there was you guys might remember it, like it was like one of those sliding doors. It was like sort of elastic, but it was like made of wood. But how they would make it was like on rails, and it would like turn the curve.
Yeah, it's like a sideways roll top.
It's like, yeah.
Well, so this was just a shelf that had one of those doors on it. And we had this massive, well, I say massive, it was probably like a 32-inch, actually probably smaller than that now that I think about it. A CRT TV is essentially what was up there. The rule is like, so whenever we're parked somewhere, like you can open it, like it had a VCR, I think, built into the bottom of it. And so you can open it when you're at, we're parked somewhere, whatever, so the kids can watch things. But the rule is you have to close it anytime we're driving. For some reason, they decided it was a great idea. Directly under that CRT was a chair. And my mom sat in there one time and someone didn't close that. My grandpa slammed brakes at one point when we were driving down the interstate. That thing fell off and hit my mom directly on the top of her head.
Yeah,
The
now
CRT came
she's
down.
got CTE from the
Yes.
CRT.
CRT.
I was going to say she didn't CRT that coming, but I don't know. I like yours better.
In the RV, she got
CRT.
CRT, CTE. Yes. That was long before we knew what that was. And then the other thing's like, okay, so we're driving for so long. There's a bathroom in there, but you can never use the bathroom, like ever. Like I understand now why. Like, I mean, I wouldn't want anyone using the bathroom either. But like, as a kid, I didn't get it. Like, why you just couldn't go. I didn't understand the logistics of it. So
out somewhere later.
Yeah,
somebody's got to clean it.
Yep. So. Anyways, that's enough about all that. We keep going back to it, but it's good content, I guess. So
it's give the people what they want. Old motorhomes. That's what I want a lot of the time.
If they're still listening right now, then that may actually be what they want. So we're trying to find a niche that
Chloe
maybe
tells me is get off Facebook Marketplace and stop looking at the crappy old trucks.
Yeah, just come park that thing in my yard.
Oh yeah. Man, I found this. It's literally just a wagon with a motor on it this week. It's sick, but it's got 4-wheel drive. I think it's called a mule. I'll have to send you guys a link later, but it's just it's a chair and a flat area and a motor. That's it.
Gosh. It sounds like a land raft.
Yeah, basically. And the guy wanted $8,000 for it. I know what I got.
Yeah, delusion.
No lowball.
I mean, to be fair, it was sick, but it was not
8,000 firm. He puts firm in all caps.
Not to put the red. Maybe it's really rare. I don't know. Maybe it's like the most rare, piece of old motor with the chair on it that I've ever seen. But it was okay. I put him on blast, but I did think it was extremely cool and did want it. So.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he does know what he's got.
Maybe I don't know what he's got.
Things are only worth what people are willing to pay for them. And it sounds like
poor bastard on Facebook Marketplace is willing to pay.
Yeah. I saw a tweet this week that was basically like a conversation between two people. It was like, do you want to come out with us? It's like, nah, I got plans to get my PJs and lowball people on Facebook Marketplace. I was like, honestly, that sounds kind of nice.
I love Facebook Marketplace. Is it still available? Is this available?
The amount of times. Anytime I see something that even remotely looks like a underpriced graphics card, I'm just gonna fire that off every single time. I'm just gonna hammer the button. It does no harm on my side, but like if someone's selling a 4070, 4080 right now for anything in the neighborhood of $500, I'm gonna ask them if it's available because they might not know what they got, at least right now. So
yeah. I got a sweet deal on some Magic cards one time. This person sold me like $40 for a bucket. I was probably $300 of cards in that thing after I parsed it out.
I took this home. I took this home from this past weekend with me. It has all sorts of Magic cards in it. I have no idea whose it is, and so I may be outing myself if anyone sees this in my family.
Come get me.
This is mine now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know anything about Magic cards, but here, this is basically an unboxing content, and I'm gonna pull something out here. There's a lot of cards in here.
Black Lotus.
Oh jeez.
I want you to
$15,000.
What's more than that now?
Are they? Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna try to see. Do they do like holographic Magic cards?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not seeing any quite yet, but all right. I see one Sphinx's Disciple. It has like a hollow on it. Doesn't seem like it's anything important.
What's the name on the box?
It is. So I just see Magic the Gathering.
It doesn't have a.
It's like this gold. Okay. On the back it says, which is Deckmaster.
The Gathering.
Yeah.
That's what it says on the back of all the cards, actually.
Just trying to figure out what.
Well, it says that, and then it has Deckmaster at the bottom. I thought maybe it was. I thought it said like Decima something or something like that. So
No, so there's like you can like download an app real quick that just like scans them and tells you what they are and what they're worth and stuff. It's really easy to do
Born of the
if you're
Gods.
curious. Oh yeah,
Does that mean anything?
that's like 2014, 2013, something like that. That's it.
I wish I were Yu-Gi-Oh. I'd know more about him then.
February 7th, 2014. Good call.
Dang.
Yeah, I
dial
outing
that
myself
in.
as a pretty avid Magic the Gathering aficionado, actually.
Yeah, had no idea.
yeah. I wouldn't have.
Surprise to
Wouldn't
the
have had that.
surprise of no one.
I think
I
Briptic,
have
a Right.
Briptic's
well-developed
into
collection.
Magic too, right?
Yeah, he and I play every once in a while. There's like you can like play remotely or whatever.
What are these side cards? I've never seen. Why are there like 2-for-1s?
Oh yeah, that's just a thing they did for a while there.
Seems like an odd choice. Seems like I was gonna say a recession indicator.
No, they're good. You can get
couldn't
two,
afford
you
to
get two for the
print
price of
two
one.
cards of one.
Yeah.
2 for the price of 1.
I know they're trying to give us. So
Yeah. That's
none of these
Hamlet
mean
back,
anything to me.
Hamlet back Goliath.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's cool that it's cool that it has like the symbols in the word. I don't know. Is that coming through for you guys?
Yeah,
The actual,
that is a foil one.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm sure this is fantastic content for anyone who's just listening as they're driving right now. So I'm gonna need you to pull over and pull out YouTube, subscribe, and then you could see any of the cards. So, all right. Once again, Nick, I'm gonna ask you, what did you do this weekend so I can put these cards away?
I watched a lot of golf, but too much golf, according to the rest of the people in my household. I also listened to some golf while I was applying a weed and feed to my lawn, just because we have so many dandelions, and I need to have fewer dandelions. And
Start eating them.
that's true. I could. And I also, they're like, some of my yard is just all spotty in the front. Like, I don't really care what kind of grass is growing there, but I need some grass to grow there just to fill in the little spots. So, and then lamented about still not being able to cut down some Bradford pears. They're invasive and they're terrible and they smell bad and I need them gone. I'm sure this is not the first time I've said this.
Nope. Yeah, we've
not.
definitely talked about this.
We've talked about this.
Hate them. They suck. Yeah. Other than that, I watched a lot of golf. That's pretty much all I did. The Masters tournament.
Walker has a question for you in relation to golf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is golf a sport?
Yeah. Why wouldn't it be a sport?
Can you defend it?
Can you tell me why it wouldn't be a sport?
I think golf's an activity.
I mean,
No, you said you think golf's a skill.
Oh yeah, golf's a skill. Yeah, definitely a skill. It's very skillful.
I mean, we know it's an activity. It can be an activity and a sport, or an activity and a skill.
So,
yeah.
So are Formula One and IndyCar and NASCAR not sports, just skills?
I don't
just
think
driving.
They're skills. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
at least he's consistent.
Yeah, I think it's a sport. I think you have to be incredibly athletic to play.
Ooh, hold on.
To play at the level that they're playing at the Masters. Okay.
I think Indy and F1 and stuff are way more sports than golf is for sure. Because you gotta have the reaction times and stuff. But even that,
okay,
I could be convinced on the spot.
Have you ever played? You've driven. Surely you've driven. You've driven a car. You know what driving. I mean,
Yeah.
Dude, okay. So if you're pulling a picture of John Daly to tell me you don't have to be athletic, that's a bad move because that guy is unbelievably athletic, or used to be. Now he's all old. I mean, he's known for having more upper body turn and doing things like normally in your backswing, your arms are staying kind of straight and locked out, and he's going way past and just crushing the ball. I actually have a stat on hand. In 2001, the average driving distance off of the tee box on the PGA Tour was 273 yards. John Daly was averaging over 300. Everybody else was 25 yards.
I believe he's strong.
Like he's just big. He just has a lot of
what
mass to move around.
I guess the first question is what is a sport? Does it require physical strength and dexterity?
You tell me. I don't know why. Like,
why do I think golf's not a sport? I don't know.
Do you think pickleball is a sport?
Maybe for something to be a sport. I don't think pickleball is a sport. Maybe for
Oh,
something to be a sport,
I
you can't do it recreationally. But I don't know. Like
I could
you
go. I
can't.
could absolutely go to the park and play basketball with other dads.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think we should go down that line because I think you're wrong about that one.
No, I think after verbalizing it for sure.
That's all right. I could tell you did, so
So-
we're just gonna retract that. I'm not
Hold
gonna
on.
scratch it though. Everyone's
No,
gonna
no,
hear
I
what you
could
said
be wrong.
that.
I could
All right,
admit I'm wrong.
Here's
I'm
what
trying
I'm
to dig
gonna.
into this.
This
That's
is
fair.
my what's a sport? Is it on the Olympic sports list?
Isn't there some
That's a good
on there
way
that-
for
on that
something
list, though?
to be defined as a sport.
Well, let's see.
But the International Olympic Committee is not known for making like
I mean,
great decisions all the time.
tug of war?
Is tug of war an Olympic sport?
I just typed in craziest Olympic sports into Google.
I mean, are we
Yeah.
going all the way back to like naked wrestling or whatever?
Definitely
God,
a
I hope
sport.
don't.
For sure, sport.
So
Tug of war.
plunge for
Does
distance.
it have to be a sport for more than like a decade consistently?
Wait,
Or,
are you
because
telling?
there's a
Are
lot
you
of stuff
telling
that
me
like breakdancing.
you don't think curling is a sport?
I would put curling in the same category as golf. You know,
a skill.
a skill. Like I'm not out here being like I could definitely do curling or golf. No, it takes an incredible amount of time and practice and effort and talent I
Yeah.
do not have.
I've spent a lot of time playing golf, and I'm still terrible.
Yeah. So does a sport that just require okay, but like what's the difference between, golf and video games?
I mean, they
Physical
have
exertion.
God.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. Here's a dictionary definition. A sport is an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against
Physical
another
exertion and skill.
or
So-
others
Okay.
for entertainment.
The competing thing could be key there too. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Because like
yeah.
I mean, video games require physical exertion. You got to use some number of calories to have your brain
And there-
run, right? Like,
and there are esports, but I don't think we're not necessarily comparing the
I'm not
difficulty
trying to
in
like,
which,
yeah,
but that's why they gave it the name, right?
yeah, the competition element of it. I mean, I know that like you're doing F1 driving is, you're getting jerked around inside the car, your arms are getting worked or whatever.
Yeah, those guys are athletes too, for sure.
Yeah.
Listen, here's the thing. I've played golf before where I came home and was like, "Oh, I'm sore. Like my muscles hurt." And that's sport enough for me, okay?
Well, that's exercise enough.
Yeah, there you go. You close some rings while you're on the golf course for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Now, here's
It's a nice little stroll.
here's a counter argument to my own golf as a sport. Can you really consider something a sport that you can get pissed drunk while doing it? Which I
Honestly,
guess you
man.
I'm
could.
pretty sure booze is a performance enhancing drug for golf. So like,
Yeah, you could get drunk and do all of the other sports, but it's not going to make you any better unless it's like darts or billiards, maybe. Which, again, sports ?
We'd have to bring
I mean,
Dougie in
you
for the
have
darts
physical
thing. Dougie's
exertion,
really
right?
good at darts.
There's a lot of tournaments. Bowling is another. You can chug beers and bowl for sure.
Well, there's all these like, I don't know. I would consider them sports adjacent, but still requiring lots of skill.
I mean, okay, is rock climbing a sport?
For sure. Yeah. Rock climbing
It's
is
a
definitely a sport.
It's a skill. That's just a skill.
Yeah, what are you competing against? Gravity?
We're all competing against gravity
I know.
all the time.
I know. So like,
Rock
you hear
climbing
that?
is like
Dad?
one of the most
I'm the
physically
athlete you
intense
always
ones,
wanted me
right?
to be.
Yeah, I agree that it is a sport.
It's definitely way more on the like physical side of things, hanging your ass off a cliff.
Yeah. I mean, I
Maybe
guess
you need to be able to
I have
suffer
seen the
severe
footage
injury
where
while
they.
doing it.
Yeah, I've seen the footage where they or like the competitions where they're two people climbing up the
Speed
the
climbing is,
identical walls or whatever.
yeah, crazy.
It's insane. Like spider monkeys.
No, okay, let me postulate a definition for a sport here. You need to be risking severe physical injury while doing a sport.
Okay, so, well, I guess technically you're risking death, but like swimming, you could drown, I suppose, but probably not. Diving,
Probably not.
maybe. Diving,
They
I
do
would
have lifeguards in duty at the
right.
Olympics.
High dive is definitely risking injury.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
trying to think of like low
Although
risk
that's less of a sport than
than
swimming,
golf.
than golf.
Tennis, you're really risking ACL tear probably at the worst,
Yeah,
right?
Meniscus tear right here.
Meniscus
Junior
tear,
year of
yeah.
high school. That's how
Yeah,
I
but
tore my
that's
meniscus.
not at this point in modern medicine. That's not a severe physical injury.
It hurt.
Repeated tennis balls to the forehead, probably.
Novak Djokovic had surgery on his meniscus a month before the Olympics and beat the shit out of everybody he played. So
Here first, folks. Meniscus injuries are for the weak.
they're a thing of the past.
Yeah, when Mihala and T were all just in chat together the other night and realizing that all three of like I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I tore my meniscus, and T's like, yeah, I did too, and I was like, oh yeah, I did too, and pretty much everyone I talked to is like, I don't even know why that thing exists anymore because they can just shave it off anyway.
So extreme sports, skateboarding, you can get so hurt skateboarding, and it is an Olympic sport.
Very hurt, yeah.
I'm not sure. I feel like sport or sports in general should just be like at the top, and then there's like it's almost like a Venn diagram situation. So maybe not at the top, maybe it's at the middle,
sort of deal,
and then you have to have like 2 of the 3 or 3 of the 4 or something like that, like qualifiers.
This definition, yeah, okay.
Where then you could, so then golf could fall into. So it is a competition against other people.
Right.
However, you can get drunk at it. So that would be like a disqualifying thing because you're not like, but that's like the one gimme you'll get or something like that.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
So I think what we really need to come up with is like, we really should. It's kind of the idea of like what would be the branches off of that? Like what would it need to contain there? So we said the competition aspect.
Sure.
Has to have competition.
Either physical strength or some high level of dexterity.
Right. Risk of injury.
Risk of injury.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even know the best way to do this. I desperately want to write this down.
Can't get drunk and do it.
Drinkability.
I think that really just like the only thing that matches all 4 of those that I can think of is motorsports, rally car racing.
Rally car racing.
The truest form of sport.
That's the one that goes in the middle of the like flower shaped Venn diagram.
We're doing this live. We're getting this out, folks. We're doing.
Did you just pull out Visio?
this is Google Drawing or whatever. Sports.
Visio could never.
Yeah, Visio costs too much. So we have risk of injury. I almost typed injury with it. How do I do the little connect? Okay, he's too good.
You just did it.
He's too good. He's too good. What we have competition.
There's definitely a risk of injury in darts.
Oh, for sure.
No,
for sure.
There's not a risk of injury.
Come on, dude. There's a risk of injuring someone else.
There's a risk of injury in bowling.
Yeah, risk of injuring yourself.
That's still an injury. Yeah. What do you think ACL tear
is? Drop a dart
is?
on your foot. A greater risk of injury than like walking around every day. You know.
So what? Remind me again. I've already lost it. So risk of injury, competition. Can't be intoxicated.
Can't be intoxicated. And then like, I don't know, physical strength or dexterity. I tend to think
physical ability.
Physical ability, yes. Physical prowess.
I like that. Do we have
physical
any
exertion?
Other qualifiers that we see? Physical exertion.
Yeah, that's
prowess
what
and exertion are different, I would say. Or you could also separate strength and dexterity in that way, I guess. Right. I don't know. I mean, golf is not really an exertion. You can. I mean, I grant you that you could be sore at the end of your week.
You have to be able to.
You exert a lot of energy doing some of the golfings. Not putting. There's not a lot of physical exertion in putting, but like to hit a ball 371 yards off the tee, they're swinging clubs I don't know, 100 or ball speeds off the club face is going 185 plus miles an hour. I mean, you have to be swinging hard as fuck for that to happen.
You are taking advantage of rotational physics there.
You have to exert all of the muscles in your body to make the rotational physics work. Listen, I mean, I can get a really long golf club and swing it as hard as I can and still probably not put out the same amount of energy because they train. There's like the dudes that are hitting the ball the furthest are literally just big jacked, go to the gym all the time and swing hard as hell.
Physical energy. That's just work.
I mean,
It's just a big
but it would have to go in there too, right? So like,
oh no, I mean, I'm not. That's just like the definition of work.
yeah, but I mean, there's not a whole lot of like competition or risk of injury, which would
Your
make
power.
the work you're doing not a sport.
Yeah.
So, I guess my question is, how many of these are we using as qualifiers for? You know what I mean? So, like, are we saying, okay, you got to have 4 of the 5, you got to have 3 of the 5?
I don't know.
So let's recap for anyone who's listening. So, risk of injury. These are what we have. These are our qualifiers that are coming off of we have an orb at the top that says sports, and then we just have lines coming off of it. First one is risk of injury. These are not in any specific order because I definitely don't think that these would be, but these are just what we came up with. Competition is the second one. Can't be intoxicated is the third one. Physical prowess. And finally, output of physical energy. So, burning them calories
power
would be the final one.
Burning of calories.
Like,
yeah, you gotta have 4 of the 5 at least, but
yeah, okay. So yeah, I see. Can't be intoxicated is the positive version of being drunk.
Yeah,
as an
being able to do it drunk. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Yep. So cornhole's out because you have to be intoxicated to play cornhole.
You must. Well, cornhole is a competition,
and there's no risk of injury.
There's really no risk of injury greater than your standard day-to-day, activities.
Your output of physical energy is not great. If you play enough, your arm will be sore.
Cornhole, not a sport.
Well, tell that to ESPN, who airs it at tournaments on TV.
Darts.
But isn't it like on the Ocho?
Yeah, right.
I'm not seeing that on the normal. So,
all right, bowling is more of a sport than darts and cornhole. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I mean,
only physical prowess is required.
I think bowling has all 5 of these.
No, you can be hammered and bowl.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
when you started talking about the intoxicated thing, I flipped it again. Yeah, 4 of the 5.
Bowling and golf are on the same footing then.
Yeah, I guess because you can be hammered and play golf.
That you can.
Yeah, it just starts getting into the weeds if you're like, yeah, but not at a professional level. Well, no, I can't be hammered and bowl at a professional level either. Maybe, I don't know, unless you're the Michael Jordan of bowling.
Yeah, shooting, not a sport because, your physical energy output very low.
What'd you say?
Shooting.
Yeah.
Big risk of injury if you do it wrong.
Yeah. Do we take into consideration the amount of these boxes? So it's actually like a percentage thing. So weighted? This can be like,
weighted.
Yes. It's a 20%.
If there's a bigger risk of injury, but you can be intoxicated, is that kind of like a multiplier? Because if you...
Yeah. So what we're doing right now is basically making a Pew matrix for this. And I don't like it because this is all I do for my job.
Nick, we just got more information on Walker's job. We need to write that down.
That's just engineering, man.
Get your list out.
Pew matrices, dude.
So yeah, we're gonna think about this a little more. We're not gonna have time to go through every
after we're done recording. I'm not thinking of this anymore. I can't. I got other stuff to do.
Nick, that was my way of transitioning out of this. I don't care if you think about this anymore. But
good.
I will have this. This will be forever in my Google Drive. We want you guys
Maybe
to
one
think.
Day we'll come back. You know what? Let's wait until we get another episode with a sports guy on.
That's fair.
Like I feel I'm pretty sportsy, but it could be sportsier. So
yeah, I'll keep this on here, and then when we get more sports guys on here, we'll bring this back up. We'll just kind of rehash this with them. How about that? We can do that in the future. Cool. All right, that's going away. We've beat that dead sport till it died.
Horse racing, sport or not?
That's a great question. Next
Only if
in
you're
May,
gambling.
in May it is. In May it is. At
Yeah,
least
derby
around these
season.
parts.
Yeah.
And I get days off of work for it, which is awesome too. So
That's
it's
bonkers, dude.
yeah, I don't get Good Friday off, but I get the Friday off before Derby. So what's that tell you about the state of Kentucky right now?
Yeah,
That
their
they've got
priorities
their
straight.
priorities straight. Hell yeah, brother.
All right, so the last thing I kind of wanted to touch on for this evening was I want to do a quick like media roundup thing because Heather and I started watching a new show that has completely encaptured me. And boys, I'll be honest with you. Like, had this not worked out, I probably would be like 3 more episodes deep into,
You're
which
not
is
done yet.
The Pit. It's a long season. It's 14 episodes.
It's 15 episodes.
15?
Yeah.
Okay, I counted wrong.
That's
So
more
we
than
were
14.
counting.
Yeah.
We were counting
We watched
before.
the last one yesterday.
We were counting before, but maybe I counted. Anyways, so Walker, do you know anything about this show?
Yeah, I've been trying to get Chloe to watch it with me, and she's like categorically refusing to do it.
That seems fair. That would be like me watching a made-for-TV series about the military or something.
Well, so look, apparently she's got classmates that say it's good. And from everything I've heard, all of the medical professionals are like, yeah, that's legit.
It's fantastic.
But I think it's just like,
The show is incredible.
yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't, I'll give a quick update here. So essentially, The Pit is a show that is placed in the ER department, the emergency room at, I don't know, it's in Pittsburgh. I don't know what I can't remember the actual name of the hospital. It's called The Pit, 2 T's. And that is kind of a tongue-in-cheek derogatory name for the ER department plus Pittsburgh pulling all together. And so the guy who's head over the emergency room, he gets, in an early episode, he gets his hand slapped a little bit because he's told by a director not to call it that. So, you can tell that higher ups don't actually like that. But you see very quickly that, or you can see from the names of the episode titles, that it is literally going hour by hour through 1 day's worth of an emergency room shift, starting at 7 a.m. And I guess if you were watching it at the beginning, you wouldn't necessarily know unless you knew how many episodes, but we know 15 now. So it's just going hour by hour all the way across. And boys, I'm just completely encaptured by this show. I love the nuance between the cases they've chosen, the ways that they don't necessarily linger on things. They subvert expectations with certain cases. I'm just like, oh, they're going to go here with it. And they never, they don't. They don't go certain directions. Or sometimes they dial in and they have those crazy things. I don't have that much experience with medical dramas, things like that. I don't know. I've never really, I didn't watch House or anything of that sort. But House is such a, they're always just trying to curveball you.
Yeah,
It's the most. Yeah, House is always the most wild of nonsense.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
Same with Grey's Anatomy too. I hear Scrubs is the other most accurate one, or maybe to this point it was one of the most realistic of what being in a hospital is like. But
so Nick, what are your thoughts on it? I know you said that Kristen's watched more of it, but I'd like to know what your thoughts are.
She watched more episodes. She watched all the episodes, and I caught 3 maybe here and there, but we did watch the finale last night, and it was a pretty classic. Who's that guy? Why are they mad at this person? Why is, I ask a bunch of questions, but so I didn't get super sucked into the narratives, right? So for me, it was more like wondering how realistic is this? But I didn't hate it. I thought it was made well. There were some themes, I guess, or some things that some of the characters went through that you don't really see a lot in medical dramas or just, TV shows, people dealing with anxiety attacks in the middle of trying to help people and stuff like that. This is pretty interesting. But yeah, it was funny because Kristen started watching it. I'm like, what are you watching? She goes, it's called The Pit. She had seen a bunch of reels or, videos online, and she goes, all of the videos I saw online made it seem like it was a funny show, and it's not funny. like there are funny moments.
Yeah,
but
they're for sure
overall,
funny moments.
it is a
The
straight up
drama,
drama. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like, what is the other one, St. Dennis Medical or whatever, where it's a legitimate comedy about people who work in a
Yeah.
hospital. No, it's like a drama, but with a couple of like dark humor, one-liners or whatever. So that's what I was kind of looking out for. Of course, that's what I'm always looking out for, is the dark humor jokes. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I'd probably watch season 2 if they made a season 2. I don't know if they're going to.
Yep. January 26th.
Oh, nice.
They already got it. They got it locked in. So I guess the next round they're doing, all I had seen online, the next day or next shift that they're gonna do for a season is in July. I don't know what that means.
Fourth, baby.
That's what I'm going.
People are going to be missing fingers. I'll tell you that right now.
No, it's just oh well, there's another person with their hand bone off. Oh look, another person, no hands. Golly
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, I guess even with other medical shows and things I've watched, like, they're usually like so serialized where you don't get the idea like, hey, we're doing a full. Let me back up. You obviously, like, the showrunners and stuff know that they're doing a full season at the beginning of it, but it's more like okay, weekly viewing, sit down, do this. We need to close up these things. But when they're making something so it's on Max. So it's it's at a different quality than, like, like the other, like Game of Thrones and The Last of Us and stuff like that. Like, it's not shot like that. But the things I've been most impressed by is obviously the actual feeling of, now I didn't go through residency, but I've been married to someone who's did 6 years of varying degrees of medical school and residency. So the fact that they're in like a teaching situation, a teaching hospital situation, top attending, senior residents, and then you can see the pecking order go down there, and you can see how on the fly they say, like, for instance, there's a younger student that's came in. There's 3 like whatever first year residents essentially that are coming in, and there's one that is she's very intelligent, but she's much younger than the rest of the the other residents that are in there, and they taught her how to basically put a hip back in, like a dislocated hip, and do that. And so they taught her what they called the Captain Morgan method. Well, she's only 20. She didn't get that reference. So basically where they had her stand on something and then elevate and put her knee up. And then they basically put the guy's knee over top, and they said, in real terms, they're like, hey, like, it's physics. Like, you're going to push down on his ankle and use your, leverage from your knee under his knee, physics of that, and do it. And, like, they show it. And man, I'm just impressed by all this, because things that I've heard of, or like I'll hear, obviously Heather's a different kind of doctor, but she had to learn all the anatomy stuff. Nick, we worked, at the med school. We're around that, the cadaver labs. They talk about that too. They're like, hey, can I do this? Like, the different archetypes too of the residents. You got like some that are just like super gung-ho, and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to get in here, and kind of overbearing, and they're like trying to prove themselves like more. Like, there's one girl, she desperately wanted to put a chest tube in, and a guy literally had just passed away, and she's like, well, could I practice putting a chest tube in? It's like, that's not how any of this works.
I don't know. Go ask his family. He's waiting in the waiting room to see if he's still alive.
But it's insane because they did such a good job. Like, they wrote the characters so well that, like, you can just see these characters on the screen. You can tell the writers really, really, really knew what they were doing. They either A, knew what they were doing, or B, they got the right people in the room to tell them, hey, this isn't right. This isn't how it should be. They really went above and beyond to try to do that. That being said, it has been a fun watch with Heather. It has stressed her out immensely every single episode to watch.
It's going to get worse.
Yeah. But I think it's more just the trauma of, like, oh, I've been in this situation. Like, when things go awry and stuff.
I think that's what Chloe is like, not here for it. She's like, I
don't
want to.
Well, I don't want to ruin anything. I was going to say, I think the culmination of, like, all of the crazy that happens in the final couple episodes is not that realistic, but it kind of is.
Yeah. Well, don't. I want to watch it. I'm sure
I'm
I'll
not. I'm
enjoy
not
it.
gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I do appreciate that. Now that I think about it, the pacing is a lot like 24.
yes, yeah. I would agree with that. I think honestly, I think they've taken like, I mean, they've taken
Yeah, they
direct
go hour by
inspiration
hour.
from
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
They just don't have that cool ticking clock.
I know.
Dang it! I need to rewatch 24 now. Son of a bitch.
I never saw it. I saw it. I saw the box sets in Blockbuster when I was a kid.
It's honestly a very fun show.
Yeah,
Oh, it's on Netflix. Hell
I
yeah,
actually
let's go.
watched more of Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland than
it's not available
24.
in my country.
Yeah, Walker, it may be something where, like, I mean, if she doesn't want to watch it and she's cool with you watching it, it might be something to watch. And you just, I mean, not that you don't have respect for what she's going through with residency and stuff like that, but it definitely, like, I'm like, man, I don't think I'm strong enough. I'm just impressed by anyone who can make it through this process. And they, you go through or you hear they talk about it where they did a procedure at one point where they couldn't. Nick, this is something that I referenced. This is like, oh, we kind of do that in IT sometimes, where they do a procedure where they need to put a breathing tube, or intubate and do a breathing tube down the guy's throat. But unfortunately, he has too much blood and they just can't see. They can't do it. So what the guy pulls out, the attending, when he comes in the room, he's like, what we got? And they're talking, they're going to end up doing something. And the other thing, too, is like me being uninitiated. I don't know all these terms. They use terms and then they do a very elegant way because they're teaching these residents. It's very natural for them to be like, hey, a resident, like a year one resident can be like, hey, what are we doing this for? Or like, I've never seen this before. And they say,
That's
okay,
clever.
here's what you're going to do. And they tell them like, hey, yeah, you're going to use this blade. You're going to cut this. This is why we're doing it. And it's a teaching situation, but I'm learning. So they have a thing called a crike, which essentially from what I got was, they went down. Basically, it's just opening up the throat like here to get into the airway and do all that stuff. Well, they did it in an earlier episode. And then this new patient comes in here and they were going to do it again, but it's very invasive. Like you're kind of like butterflying open the neck and doing all this stuff. And the attending walks in. He's like, hey, we can do X, whatever name it was. Essentially what it was is you stick a needle in and you run a wire through and you use it as a pull cord. And you come out the mouth, you go up out the mouth, and then you tie on what you need and use it as a guide back through. I was like, oh, we do that when we're pulling wire.
I do that on the wall when I'm mounting TVs. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
And so I think for me, it's super cool. Like seeing the nuance, right? Like that attending, it just gives you so much respect for any of these doctors that sign up to stay at teaching hospitals, like not go private. They stay at the teaching hospitals. They're bringing in these young doctors. They really, really care to give them all this information that they're going to need. They care to teach in like a kind way to do that, to not, I don't know. Not all of them are like this. I mean, Heather had teachers and professors that were not like this. I think we knew people from Marion that were not like, were not kind and not that kind of stuff. But getting an attaboy early on in your career from someone that you respect, you can see it light them up, like the young residents.
It can make a huge difference.
And then he walks out in the hallway and he's like a hard ass on this, this like senior resident or someone who's like an R3 or something like that. And it's like, hey, we've talked about this before. Like, I need you to move faster. So there's one doctor, she likes to take a lot of time and really hear her patient, has really good bedside manner. But he's getting pushed down from directors above, like, hey, we got to keep moving and stuff. And you see it. They cut to the waiting room all the time. And they have, like, all sorts of storylines that are feeding through the waiting room, and you're learning about characters, like little sub characters breaking the monotony of being in the back in the ER and stuff. So for anyone who's been on the fence, if you have Max and do that and you're not squeamish, because there's quite a bit of blood and things like that, it's a ER. Just know what you're getting into.
Alternatively, if you have Max, just watch Lord of the Rings Extended.
Yep, you could do that too. Very different experience. Very good as well. So well, boys, we have meandered all over the place tonight. Is there anything else that's on your mind, or should we wrap this thing up?
Let me hit you with this other thing that my wife did today before we leave.
So we
She's
opened
really-
with it, we closed
she's-
with it.
yeah,
Grilled
yeah, let's-
sandwich to get in with a wife bad sandwich. That's not a
So
healthy way to be.
this actually happened right before she left to go take Riley to tumbling and then get Taco Bell behind my back. I was eating some Greek yogurt. I'm like trying to be healthy. I've said I'm gonna get some Greek yogurt and I'm gonna put some honey in it, and that's gonna be my little dessert or whatever. And the honey I bought at the store has honeycomb in it. It's like local wildflower
Oh,
honey
okay.
with honeycomb in it. So I squeeze it in there, I mix it all up. And then I was eating it, and we're sitting on the couch, and I go, oh. And she's like, what? And I said, oh, that was a little chunk of honeycomb. And she goes, you're a little chunk of honeycomb. I said, I don't know if that's a compliment or if I should be offended. It feels like if you live south of the Mason-Dixon, just somewhere maybe further south than Tennessee, a little chunk of honeycomb could be endearing, right? But we're in the north. We're Yanks, okay? This feels like it was a dig. Felt like it was a dig because she didn't say it with a southern drawl. So I don't know where you guys stand on a little chunk of honeycomb. I think we could make it a thing, so it's a nice way calling somebody sweet.
Yeah. How does Kristen specifically feel about honey? Because I think it's the person's intent, right?
Well, it happened because she and I both do that all the time. Somebody will say something and be like, "You're a whatever."
For sure.
So it was just kind of a natural. Like the other day, what was I? I can't remember what I said, but it was something that she started to go, "You're," and then if she would have finished it, it would have been insanely offensive, like calling me a big fat guy or something like that. But I was like, it sounds coded like it could be a compliment from a Southern grandma, but it has a feeling of being mean.
Yeah.
I think
Your
maybe
wife,
just
a
the
Southern
word,
grandma.
yeah, that maybe the word chunk is not.
Yeah.
That's
not
what I was
doing a
gonna.
lot of lifting.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna focus in on. Heather has this tendency to like talk to the cats, but then like she'll talk like about me to the cats, and then she'll like repeat what she said, but she'll add in increasing offensiveness adjectives to it. So it'd be like, whatever. Here comes your daddy, whatever. And like they know, like, oh, I'm probably gonna give him food or something. Like, or okay. So case in point, today I went for a walk, came back. She's like, oh, here's your daddy, and they like scurry around because they hear me come in the front door, and they're like, oh yeah, here comes your stinky daddy. Here comes your big stinky daddy, because here comes your big stinky sweaty daddy, and I'm like, okay, enough with the adjectives. Like you're running out of anything, and
Excuse
you didn't even sprinkle any nice ones in. So
she said big.
I know, but it's just one of those things, man. So, but well, boys, let's wrap this up. I don't know about honeycomb, but I think it's the chunky. I think that's what it is. I think the honeycomb is just
little chunk of honeycomb. Maybe
I think it's
it's
the chunk.
a little bit of honeycomb,
part, but
a little dab of honeycomb. I don't know, chunk, but it was a chunk.
I will do anything except go to therapy. That's all I'm saying.
this is what we're trying. This is what we're trying to do. So, well, if you're still listening, we appreciate you guys being here. We hear you.
We hear and we don't judge.
You little chunks of honeycomb out there.
We appreciate you. And yeah, until next time, be well. Thank you.